Just a little. Matter of fact, let me get this place. I need to get the whole thing. Put it over there.
I bet you're worried.
We were worried. We were worried about vaginas.
We were worried what we think about vaginas, and even more worried that we don't think about them. We were worried about our own vaginas. They needed a context of other vaginas, a community, a culture of vaginas. There's so much darkness and secrecy surrounding them, like the Bermuda Triangle. Nobody ever reports back from there.
In the first place, it's not so easy to even find your vagina. Women go weeks, months, sometimes years without looking at it. A high-powered businesswoman was interviewed, and she said she was too busy. She didn't have the time. Looking at your vagina, she said, it's a full day's work. You have to get down there on your back in front of the mirror that's standing on its own, full length preferred. You gotta get in the perfect position with the perfect light, which is shadowed somehow by the mirror and the angle of that. You get all twisted up, you're arching your head, killing your back. You're exhausted by then. She said she didn't have time for that. She was too busy.
So there were vagina interviews, which became Vagina Monologues. Over 200 women were interviewed. Older women, young women, married women, lesbians, single women, college professors, actors, corporate professionals, sex workers, African American women, Asian American women, Hispanic women, Native American women, Caucasian women, Jewish women. Okay, at first women were reluctant to talk. They were a little shy, but once they got going, you couldn't stop them. Women secretly love to talk about their vaginas. They get very excited, mainly because no one's ever asked them before.
Let's just start with the word vagina. It sounds like an infection at best. Maybe a medical instrument? Hurry, nurse, bring me the vagina, vagina. Doesn't matter how many times you say it, it never sounds like a word you want to use. It's a totally ridiculous, completely unsexy word. If you use it during sex, trying to be politically correct, darling, could you stroke my vagina? You kill the act right there.
We were worried about vaginas, what we call them and don't call them.
In Great Neck, they call it a pussycat. A woman there said that her mother used to tell her, don't wear panties under your pajamas, dear. You need to air out your pussycat.
In Westchester, they call it a pookie.
In New Jersey, a twat.
There's powder box, a poochie, a poopy, a pee-pee, a poopy-loo, a panani, a pal, and a peachy.
Toby, Dee-Dee, Nishi, Dignity, Monkey Box.
Coochie Scorcher, Cooter, La Baby.
Gladys Siegelman.
Va, Wee Wee, Horse Spot, Nappy Dugout.
Mongo, Mookie, a pajama, Fanny Poo, Mushmallow.
A ghoulie, possible, tamale, tatati, Connie.
A Mimi in Miami.
A split knish in Philadelphia.
And a shamindi in the Bronx.
We're worried about vaginas.
Some of the monologues are based on several women's stories surrounding the same theme, and a few times, a good idea became an outrageous one. This monologue is based on one woman's story, although the subject came up in every interview and was often fraught, the subject being hair.
You cannot love a vagina unless you love hair. Many people do not love hair. My first and only husband hated hair. He said it was cluttered and dirty. He made me shave my vagina. It looked puffy and exposed and like a little girl. This excited him. When he made love to me, my vagina felt the way a beard must be. It felt good to rub it and painful. Like scratching a mosquito bite. It felt like it was on fire. There were screaming red bumps. I refused to shave it again. Then my husband had an affair. When we went to marital therapy, he said he screwed around because I wouldn't please him sexually. I wouldn't shave my vagina. The therapist had a German accent, and she gasped between sentences to show her empathy. She asked me why I didn't want to please my husband. I told her I thought it was weird. I felt little when my hair was gone down there, and I couldn't help talking in a baby voice. And the skin got irritated, and even calamine lotion wouldn't help. She told me marriage was a compromise. I asked her if shaving my vagina would stop him from screwing around. I asked her if she had many cases like this before. She said that questions diluted the process. I needed to jump in. She was sure it was a good beginning. This time, when we got home, he got to shave my vagina. It was like a therapy bonus prize. He clipped it a few times. There was a little blood in the bathtub. He didn't even notice it because he was so happy shaving me. Then later, when my husband was pressing against me, I could feel his spiky sharpness sticking into me, my naked, puffy vagina. There was no protection. There was no flow. I realized then that hair was there for a reason. It's the leaf around the flower. It's the lawn around the house. You have to love hair in order to love the vagina. You can't pick the parts you want. And besides, my husband never stopped screwing around.
All of the women were asked the following questions.
If your vagina got dressed, what would it wear? Glasses, a beret, a leather jacket, silk stockings, mink, a pink boa,
a male tuxedo, jeans, something form-fitting,
emeralds, an evening gown,
sequins, Armani only,
a tutu, see-through black underwear, a taffeta ball gown, something machine washable,
costume, eye mask, purple velvet pajamas, angora, a red bow,
ermine and pearls, a leopard hat, a silk kimono, sweatpants, a tattoo, an electrical shock device to keep unwanted strangers away.
high heels, lace and combat boots, purple feathers, twigs and shells, cotton,
A pinafore,
a bikini,
a slicker, If your vagina could talk, what would it say in 2 words? Slow down! Is that you? Feed me. I want yum yum. Oh yeah.
Start again. No, over there. Lick me. Stay home. Brave choice.
Think again. More, please. Embrace me. Let's play.
Don't stop. More. More. Remember me?
Come inside. Not that. Whoa, mama. Yes, yes. Rock me.
Enter at your own risk.
Oh God. Thank God. I'm here. Let's go. Let's go. Find me.
Thank you. Bonjour. Too hard. Don't give up.
Where's Brian? That's better. Yes, there. There!
For women between the ages of 65 and 75 were interviewed. These interviews were the most poignant, possibly because many of these women had never had a vagina interview before. One woman was 72 and had never even seen her vagina. She washed herself in the shower and bath, but never with conscious intention. Never had an orgasm. At 72, she went into therapy, as they do in New York. And with the help of her therapist, she went home one afternoon by herself, lit some candles, took a bath, played some music, and she got down with herself. She said it took her over an hour because she was arthritic. But when she finally found her clitoris, she said she cried. This monologue is for her.
Down there? I haven't been down there since 1953. No, it had nothing to do with Eisenhower. No, it's a cellar down there. It's very damp and clammy. You don't want to go down there, trust me. You'd get sick, suffocating. It's very nauseating. The smell of the clamminess and the mildew and everything, woof, it smells unbearable. Gets in your clothes. No, there was no accident down there. It didn't blow up or catch on fire or anything. It wasn't so dramatic. I mean, well, never mind. No, never mind. I can't tell you this. What is a smart girl like you going around talking to old ladies about their downstairs for? We didn't do this kind of thing when I was a girl. What? Oh, Jesus, okay. There was this boy, Andy Lefkoff. Andy was cute. Well, I thought so. And he was tall like me. And I really liked him. He asked me for a date in his car. I can't tell you this. I can't do this. Talk about down there. Just know it's there. It's like the cellar. There's rumbles down there sometimes. You can hear the pipes. Things get caught there. Little animals and things. And it gets wet. And sometimes people have to plug up the leaks. Otherwise, the door stays closed. You forget about it. I mean, it's part of the house, but you don't see it or think about it. It's gotta be there though, because every house has a cellar. Otherwise, the bedrooms would be in the basement. Oh, Andy. Oh, yeah, Andy left quite right. Andy was very good looking. He was a catch. That's what we called it in my day. We were in his car, a new white Chevy Bel Air. I remember thinking my legs were too long for the seat. They were smushed up against the dashboard. I have long legs. I was looking at my big kneecaps when he kissed me. It did surprisingly take me by control, like they do in the movies kind of way. And I got excited. Oh, so excited. And well, there was a flood down there. I couldn't control it. It was this force of passion, this river of life just flooded out of me. Right through my panties, right through the car seat of his new white Chevy Bel Air. It wasn't pee, and it was smelly. Well, frankly, I didn't smell anything at all. But Andy said it smelled like sour milk, and it was staining his car seat. I was a stinky, weird girl, he said. I wanted to explain that his kiss caught me off guard. It wasn't normal, right? I tried to wipe the flood up with my dress. It was a new yellow primrose dress, and it looked so ugly with the flood on it. Andy drove me home without saying another word. And when I got out, I closed the car door. I closed the whole store, locked it, never opened up for business again. I dated some after that, but the thought of flooding made me too nervous. I never even got close again. I used to have dreams. Crazy dreams. Oh, they were dopey. Why? Burt Reynolds. I don't know why. He never did much for me in life. But in my dreams, oh, I was always Burt and I, Burt and I, Burt and I. It was always the same general dream. We'd be out, Burt and I. It was some restaurant like the kind you see in Atlantic City, all big with chandeliers and stuff, and thousands of waiters with their vests. He'd give me an orchid corsage, and I'd pin it on my blazer. And we'd laugh. Oh, we were always laughing, Bert and I, laughing. And we'd eat shrimp cocktails, huge shrimp, fabulous shrimp. And we'd laugh some more. We were very happy together. And then he'd look into my eyes and pull me to him right in the middle of the restaurant. And just as he was about to kiss me, the whole restaurant would start to shake and pigeons would fly out from under the table. I don't know what those pigeons were doing down there. And the whole restaurant would fill up with my flood. And there would be fish in it, and bugs. And Bert would be standing waist deep and looking horribly disappointed in me that I'd done it again. Watching horrified as his friends, Dean Martin, would swim past us in their tuxedos and evening gowns. I don't have those dreams anymore. since they took away just about everything connected with down there. They moved out the uterus, the tubes, the whole works. The doctor thought he was being funny. He said, if you don't use it, you lose it. But really, I found out it was cancer. Everything around it had to go. Who needs it anyway? It's highly overrated. I've done other things. I love the dog shows and I sell antiques. You ask me what would it wear? What kind of a question is that? What would it wear? It would wear a big sign, closed due to flooding. What would it say? I told you, it's not like that. It's not like a person who speaks. It's not being a thing that talked a long time ago. It's a place you don't go. It's closed up, under the house. It's down there. You happy now? You got it out of me. You got an old lady to talk about her downstairs. You feel better now? Well, actually, you're the first person I ever told about this. And I feel a little better.
This is from Women and Individuality by Natalie Ann J. The clitoris is pure in purpose. It's the only organ in the body designed purely for pleasure. The clitoris is simply a bundle of nerves, 8,000 nerves, fibers to be precise. That's a higher concentration of nerve fibers than is found anywhere else in the male or female body, including the fingertips, lips, and tongue. And it is twice the number in the penis. Who needs a handgun when you've got a semi-automatic?
This monologue was based on an interview with a woman who had a good experience.
My vagina is a shell, a round, pink, tender shell, opening and closing, closing and opening. My vagina is a flower, an eccentric tulip, the center acute and deep, the scent delicate, the petals gentle but sturdy. I did not always know this. I learned this in the Vagina Workshop. I learned this from a woman who runs the Vagina Workshop, a woman who believes in vaginas, a woman who sees her vagina and helps other women see their vaginas. In the first session, the woman who runs the Vagina Workshop asked us to draw a picture of our own unique, beautiful, fabulous vagina. That's what she called it. She wanted to know what our own unique, beautiful, fabulous vagina looked like to us. One woman, who was pregnant, drew a big, red, screaming mouth with coins spilling out. Another very skinny woman drew a big serving plate with the kind of Devonshire pattern on it. I drew a huge black dot with little squiggly lines around it. The black dot was equal to a black hole in space, and the squiggly lines were meant to be people or things or just your basic atoms that got lost there. I'd always thought of my vagina as an anatomical vacuum, randomly sucking up particles and objects from the surrounding environment. I did not think of my vagina in practical or biological terms. I did not, for example, see it as something attached to me. In the workshop, we were asked to look at our vaginas with hand mirrors. Then, after careful examination, We were to verbally report to the group what we saw. I must tell you that up until that point, everything I knew about my vagina was based on hearsay or invention. I had never really seen the thing. It had never occurred to me to look at it. My vagina existed for me on some abstract plane. It seemed so reductive and awkward looking at it like we were in the workshop on our shiny blue mats with our hand mirrors. It reminded me of how the early astronomers must have felt with their primitive telescopes. I found it quite unsettling at first, my vagina, like the first time you see a fish cut open and you discover this other bloody complex world inside, right under the skin. It was so raw, so red, so fresh. And the thing that surprised me most was all the layers. Layers inside layers, opening into more layers. My vagina amazed me. I couldn't speak when it came my turn in the workshop. I was speechless. I had awakened to what the woman who ran the workshop called vaginal wonder. I just wanted to lay there on my mat with my legs spread, examining my vagina forever. It was better than the Grand Canyon, ancient and full of grace. It had the innocence and freshness of a proper English garden. It was funny, very funny. It made me laugh. It could hide and seek, open and close. Then, the woman who ran the workshop asked how many women in the workshop had had orgasms. 2 women tentatively raised their hands. I didn't raise my hand, but I had had orgasms. I didn't raise my hand because they were accidental orgasms. They happened to me. They happened in my dreams, and I would wake in splendor. They happened a lot in water, mostly in the bath, once in Cape Cod. They happened on horses, on bicycles, sometimes on the treadmill at the gym. I did not raise my hand because although I had had orgasms, I did not know how to make one happen. I thought it was a mystical, magical thing. I didn't want to interfere. It felt wrong getting involved, contrived, manipulative. It felt Hollywood. The surprise would be gone and the mystery. The problem, of course, was that the surprise had been gone for 2 years. I hadn't had a magical accidental orgasm in a long time, and I was frantic. That's why I was in the vagina workshop. And then the moment had arrived that I both dreaded and longed for. The woman who ran the workshop asked us to take out our hand mirrors again and to see if we could locate our clitoris. We were there, the group of us women, on our backs, on our mats, searching for our spots, our locus, our reason. And I don't know why, but I started crying. Maybe it was sheer embarrassment. Maybe it was knowing that I had to give up the fantasy. The enormous life-consuming fantasy that someone or something was going to do this for me. The fantasy that someone was coming to lead my life, to choose direction, to give me orgasms. I could feel the panic coming, the simultaneous terror and realization that I had avoided finding my clitoris, had rationalized it as mainstream and consumerist because I was, in fact, terrified that I did not have a clitoris, terrified that I was one of those constitutionally incapables, one of those frigid, dead, shut down, dry, apricot-tasting bitter. Oh my God! I lay there with my mirror looking for my spot, reaching with my fingers, and all I could think about was the time when I was 10 and I lost my gold ring with the emeralds in the lake, how I kept diving and over to the bottom of the lake, running my hands over stones and fish and bottle caps and slimy stuff, but never my ring. The panic I felt, I knew I'd be punished. The woman who ran the workshop saw my insane scrambling, sweating, and heavy breathing. She came over. I told her, it's gone, I've lost my clitoris. I shouldn't have wore it swimming. The woman who ran the workshop laughed. She calmly stroked my forehead. She told me my clitoris was not something I could lose. It was me, she said, the essence of me. It was both the doorbell to my house and the house itself. I didn't have to find it. I had to be it. Be it. Be my clitoris. Be my clitoris. I lay back and closed my eyes. I put the mirror down. I watched myself floating above myself. I watched as I slowly began to approach myself and re-enter. I felt like an astronaut re-entering the surface of the earth, It was very quiet, this re-entry, quiet and gentle. I bounced and landed and bounced. I came into my own muscles and blood and cells, and then I slid into my vagina. It was suddenly easy, and I fit. It was all warm and pulsing and ruddy and young and alive. And then, without looking, with my eyes still closed, I put my finger on what had suddenly become me. There was a little quivering at first, which urged me to stay. Then the quivering became a quake, an eruption, the layers dividing and subdividing. The quaking broke open into an ancient horizon of light and silence, which opened onto a plane of music and colors and innocence and longing. I felt connection, calling connection, as I lay there about on my little vagina. My vagina is a shell, a tulip, and a destiny. I am arriving as I am beginning to leave. My vagina, my vagina.
Because I like to look at it. This monologue was based on an interview with a woman who had a good experience with a man.
This is how I came to love my vagina. It's embarrassing because it's not politically correct. I mean, I know it should have happened in a bath with salt grains from the Dead Sea. Anya playing, me loving my woman's self. I know the story. Vaginas are beautiful. Our self-hatred is only the internalized repression and hatred of the patriarchal culture. It isn't real. Pussies unite! I know all of it. Like, if we'd grown up in a culture where we were taught fat thighs were beautiful, we'd all be pounding down milkshakes and Krispy Kreme, lying on our backs, spending our days, thighs bending. But we didn't grow up in that culture. I hated my thighs, and I hated my vagina even more. I thought it was incredibly ugly. I was one of those women who looked at it, and from the moment on, I wish I hadn't. It made me sick. I pitied anyone who had to go down there. In order to survive, I began to pretend there was something else between my legs. I imagined furniture, cozy futons, with light cotton comforters, little velvet settees, leopard rugs, or pretty things, silk handkerchiefs, quilted pot holders, or place settings. I got so accustomed to this that I lost all memory of having a vagina. Whenever a man was inside me, I pictured him inside a mink-lined muffler or a Chinese bowl. But then I met Bob. Bob was just an ordinary man, most ordinary man I ever met. He was thin and tall and nondescript. He wore khaki tan clothes. Bob didn't like spicy foods, and he didn't like prints. He had no interest in sexy lingerie. In the summer, he spent time in the shade. He did not share his inner feelings. He did not have any problems or issues and was not even an alcoholic. He wasn't very funny or articulate or mysterious. He wasn't mean or unavailable. He wasn't self-involved or charismatic. He didn't drive fast. I didn't particularly like Bob. I would have missed him altogether if he hadn't have picked up my change that I dropped on the deli floor. When he handed me back my quarters and pennies, and his hand accidentally touched mine, something happened. I went to bed with Bob. That's when the miracle occurred. Turned out Bob loved vaginas. He was a connoisseur. He loved the way they felt, the way they tasted, the way they smelled. But most importantly, he loved the way they looked. He had to look at them. The first time we had sex, he told me he had to see me. I'm right here, I said. No, he said, I have to see you. Turn on the light. I said, thinking he was a weirdo and freaking out in the dark. He turned on the light. Then he said, okay, I'm ready to see you. Right here, I waved. I'm right here. Then he began to undress me. What are you doing, Bob? I said. I need to see you, he replied. No need, just do it! I need to see what you look like. He said, but you've seen a red leather couch before, I said. Bob continued. He would not stop. I wanted to throw up and die. This is awfully intimate, I said. Can't you just do it? No, he said. It's who you are. I need to look. I held my breath. He looked, and he looked. He got breathy. His face changed. It didn't look ordinary anymore. He looked like a hungry beast. You're so beautiful, he said. You're elegant and deep and innocent. You saw that there? I said. It was like he read my poem. I saw that, he said, and more, much, much more. He stayed looking for almost an hour, as if he were studying a map, observing the moon, staring into my eyes. But it was my vagina! In the light, I watched him looking at me, and he was genuinely excited, so peaceful, euphoric. I began to get wet, turned on. I began to see myself the way he saw me. I began to feel beautiful, delicious. Bob wasn't afraid. He wasn't grossed out. I began to swell, began to feel proud, began to love my vagina. And Bob lost himself there. And I was there with him, in my vagina, and we were gone.
This is not a so happy fact found in UNICEF's 2005 report, Female Genital Mutilation and Cutting, a statistical exploration.
Female genital mutilation has been inflicted on approximately 130 million girls and young women in 28 countries where it is practiced, mostly in Africa. About 3 million young girls a year can expect the knife or the razor or a glass shard to cut their clitoris or remove it altogether. In a man, it would range from amputation of most of the penis to removal of all of the penis. Short-term results include tetanus, hemorrhages, cuts in the urethral bladder, vaginal walls, long-term chronic uterine infection, increased agony, and danger during childbirths and early deaths.
My vagina's angry. My vagina's angry. It is. My vagina's furious and it needs to talk. It needs to talk about all this shit. It needs to talk to you. I mean, what's the deal? An army of people out there thinking of ways to torture my poor ass? Gentle, loving vagina. Spending their days constructing psycho products and nasty ideals to undermine my pussy. Vagina motherfuckers. All this shit. They're constantly trying to shove up us, clean us up, and stuff us up. Make it go away. Well, my vagina's not going away. It's pissed off and it's staying right here. Like tampons. What the hell is that? A wad of dry fucking cotton stuffed up there? Why can't they find a way to subtly lubricate the tampon? As soon as my vagina sees it, it goes into shock and forgets it. it closes up. You need to work with the vagina. Introduce it to things. Prepare the way. That's what foreplay's all about. You got to convince my vagina. Seduce my vagina. Engage my trust. See, my vagina, it needs trust. You can't do that with a dry wad of fucking cotton. Stop shoving things up me. Stop shoving and stop cleaning it up. My vagina doesn't need to be cleaned up. It smells good already. Don't try to decorate it. Don't believe him when he tells you it smells like rose petals when it's supposed to smell like pussy. That's what they're doing. Trying to clean it up, make it smell like a bathroom spray. Our garden, all those dish sprays, florals and berries and rain. I don't want my pussy to smell like that. All cleaned up, it's like washing a fish after you cook it. I want to taste the fish. That's why I ordered it. Then there's those exams. Who thought them up? There's got to be a better way to do those exams. Why the scary paper dresses that scratches your tits and crunches when you lie down, so when you feel like a wad of paper someone just threw away? Why the rubber gloves? Why the flashlight all up in there like Nancy Drew, working against gravity? Why the Nazi steer sticks? Their mean cold duck lips, they shove inside you. What's that? My vagina's angry about those visits. It gets defensive weeks in advance. It won't go out the house. Then you get there. Don't you hate that? Scoot down, relax your vagina. Whoa! So you get shoved and mean cold duck lips right inside it? I don't think so. Why can't they find some nice, delicious purple velvet and wrap it around me, lay me down on some feathery cotton spread, put on some nice, friendly pink or blue gloves, and rest my feet in some fur-covered skirts. Warm up the duck lips. Work with my vagina. Enough. More tortures, dry wad of fucking cotton, cold duck lips, and thong underwear. That's the worst. Who won't let her? Moves around all the time, gets stuck in the back of your crusty butt. Vagina's supposed to be loose and wide. Not held together. That's why girdles are so bad. We need to move and spread and talk. Vaginas need comfort. Make something like that. Something to give them pleasure. No, of course, they won't do that. Hate to see a woman having pleasure. Particularly sexual pleasure. I mean, make a nice pair of soft cotton underwear with a French tickler built in. Yes. Women will be coming all day long. Coming in the supermarket, coming in the subway, coming happy vaginas. They won't be able to stand it. Seeing all those energized, not taking shit, happy, hot vaginas. If my vagina could talk, it would talk about itself. Like me. It would talk about other vaginas. It would do vagina impressions. It will wear hairy Winston diamonds. No clothing, just there, all draped in diamonds. My vagina now brings a giant baby. It thought it would be doing more of that. No, it's not. Now, it wants to travel. It doesn't want a lot of company. It wants to read and know things and get out more. It wants sex. It loves sex. It wants to go deeper. It's hungry for depth. It wants kindness. It wants change. It wants silence and freedom and gentle kisses and warm liquids and deep touch.
Bosnian women refugees were interviewed during the war in Yugoslavia in refugee camps and centers. 20 to 70,000 women were raped in the middle of Europe as the systematic tactic of war. It was shocking to see how little people did to stop it, but then again, in the United States, each year about 200,000 women are raped, which is another kind of war. This monologue is based on one woman's story. We do it tonight for that woman and the extraordinary women of Bosnia and Kosovo.
My vagina was green. Water soft pink fields. Cow mooing, sun resting. Sweet boyfriend touching lightly with a soft piece of blonde straw. There's something between my legs. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I do not touch. Not now. Not anymore. Not since. My vagina was chatty. Can't wait. So much saying words. Can't try saying, can't stop quitting, can't stop saying yes, yes, yes. No, since I dream there's a dead animal sewn in down there with a thick black fishing line. And the bad dead animal smell cannot be removed. And its throat is slit, and it bleeds through all my summer dresses. My vagina, singing all rings, singing all girl songs, all ring bell goat songs, all wild autumn field songs. Vagina songs, vagina home songs. Not since the soldiers put a long, thick rifle inside me, so cold, but still rock concealed in my heart. I don't know if they are gonna shove it or fire it. I don't know if they're gonna shove it through my spinning brain. 6 of them, monstrous doctors with black masks, shoving bottles of me too. There were sticks and the end of a broom. My vagina, swimming river, water. Clean spilling water over sun-baked stones, over clean stones, over and over. No, since I hear the skin tear and made lemon screeching sounds. Not since a piece of my vagina came out in my hand. One part of the lip. Now one side of the lip is completely gone. My vagina, a live wet water village. My vagina, my hometown. You know, since they took turns during 7 days, smelling like feces and smoked meat, they left the dirty sperm inside me. I became a river of poison and pus, and the crops died, and the fish. My vagina, a live, wet water village. My vagina, my hometown. They invaded it, they butchered it, they burned it down. church now. Do not visit. I live someplace else now. I don't know where that is.
The little cookie snorcher that could. In hundreds of interviews with homeless women over the course of 13 years, only one woman was not sexually abused as a little girl or raped as a young woman. For most of these women, home is a very scary place, a place that they have fled. The shelters are ironically the first place many of them are ever found safety, protection, or comfort. This is a woman's story as she told it. What isn't in the story is the fact that this woman met another woman in a shelter and they fell in love, and through their love, they both got out of the shelter system. Memory, December 1965, 5 years old.
My mama tells me in a loud, life-threatening voice to stop scratching my coochie snorcher. I become terrified that I've scratched it off down there. I don't touch myself again, even in the bath. I'm afraid of water getting in and filling me up so I explode. I put Band-Aids over my coochie to cover the hole, but they fall off in the water. I imagine a bathtub plug, a bathtub plug up there to prevent things from entering me. I sleep with 3 pairs of happy heart pattern underpants underneath my snap-up pajamas. I still want to touch myself sometimes, but I don't.
Memory, 7 years old.
Edgar Monte, who is 10, gets angry at me and punches me with all his might between my legs. It feels like he breaks my entire self. I limp home, I can't pee. My mama asks me what's wrong with my coochie snorcher. And when I tell her what Edgar did to me, she gets angry at me and yells at me and tells me not to ever let anyone touch me down there again. When I tried to explain to her that he didn't touch it, Mama, he punched it.
Memory, 9 years old.
I play on the bed, bouncing and falling, and I impale my coochie snorcher on the bedpost. I make high-pitched screaming noises that come straight from my coochie snorcher's mouth. I get taken to the hospital, and they sew it up down there where it's been torn apart.
Memory, 10 years old.
I'm at my father's house, and he's having a party upstairs. Everyone's drinking. I'm playing alone in the basement, and I'm trying on my I'm trying on my cotton white bra and panties that my father's girlfriend gave me. Suddenly, my father's best friend, this big man named Alfred, comes up from behind and pulls my new underpants down and sticks his big hard penis into my coochie snorcher. I scream, I kick, I try to fight him off, but he gets it in already. My father's there then, and he has a gun. And there's a loud, horrible noise. And there's blood all over Alfred and me. Lots of blood. I'm sure my coochie snorcher has finally fallen out. Alfred is paralyzed for life, and my mama doesn't let me see my father for 7 years.
Memory, 13 years old.
My coochie snorcher is a very bad place. It's a place of pain, nastiness, punching, invasion, and blood. It's a site for mishaps. It's a bad luck zone. I imagine a freeway between my legs, and I'm traveling, going far away from here. There's this gorgeous 24-year-old woman in our neighborhood, and I stare at her all the time. One day, she invites me into her car. She asks me if I like to kiss boys, and I tell her I do not like that. Then she says she wants to show me something, and she leans over and kisses me, so softly on the lips, with her lips, and then puts her tongue in my mouth. Wow. She asks me if I want to come over to her house, and then she kisses me again and tells me to relax, to feel it, to let our tongues feel it. She asked my mom if I could spend the night, and my mother's delighted that such a beautiful, successful woman has taken an interest in me. can't wait. Her apartment's fantastic. She's got it hooked up. It's the settings. The beads, the fluffy pillows, the mood lights. I decide right there that I want to be a secretary like her when I grow up. She makes a vodka for herself, and then she asks me what I want to drink. I say the same as she's drinking, and she says she doesn't think my mom would like me drinking vodka. I say she probably wouldn't like me kissing girls out. And the pretty lady makes me a drink. Then she changes into this chocolate satin teddy. She's so beautiful. I always thought bull daggers were ugly. I say, you look great. She says, so do you. I say, but I only have on this white cotton bra and underpants. Then she dresses me slowly in another satin teddy. It's lavender like the first soft days of spring. The alcohol has gone to my head, and I'm loose and ready. There's a picture over a bed of a naked black woman with a huge afro. She gently and slowly lays me out on the bed, and just our bodies rubbing together makes me come. Then she does everything to me and my coochie snorcher that I always thought was nasty before. And wow, I'm so hot, so wow. She says, your vagina, untouched by a man, smells so nice, so fresh. Wish I could keep it that way forever. I get crazy, wild, and then the phone rings. And of course, it's my mama. I'm sure she knows. She catches me at everything. I'm breathing so heavy, and I try to act normal when I get on the phone, and she asks me, what's wrong with you? Have you been running? I say, no, mama, exercising. Then she tells the beautiful secretary to make sure I'm not around boys, and the lady tells her, trust me, there's no boys around here. Afterwards, the gorgeous lady teaches me everything about my coochie snorcher. She makes me play with myself in front of her. She teaches me all the ways to give myself pleasure. She's very thorough. She tells me to always know how to give myself pleasure, so I'll never have to rely on a man. In the morning, I'm worried I've become a butch because I'm so in love with her. She laughs, but I never see her again. I realize later she was my surprising, unexpected, and politically incorrect salvation. She transformed my sorry-ass coochie snorcher and raised it into a kind of heaven.
Reclaiming Con. We've created a map of vagina-friendly cities. Welcome, Los Angeles. They are wild for vaginas in Pittsburgh. In fact, a woman from Pittsburgh was obsessed about a particular word, a pejorative word used to describe the vagina. Her mission was to reconceive the word.
I call it cunt. I've reclaimed it. Cunt. I really like it. Cunt. Listen to it. Cunt. C. Cut. Cavern. Cackle. Clint. Cute. Come close. C. Come inside. Inside. Cut. Then you. Then cool. Then curvy. Inviting short skin. Uniform. Under. Up. Urge. Up. You. Then in. Then come. Snugly at the spinning perfectly together. In. Nest. Now. Nexus. Nice. Always depth. Always round and uppercase. Con. In. A death, jagged, wicked pulse. Then warm, then soft in. Warm in. Con. Then T. Then sharp, searching, tangy T. texture, tape, tint, tight, tantalizing, tinting, taste, tendril, time, tactile. Tell me, cunt, say it, tell me, cunt.
A six-year-old girl was asked, if your vagina got dressed, what would it wear?
Red high tops and a net scarf worn backwards.
If it could speak, what would it say?
It would say words that begin with VNT, turtle, and violin are examples.
What does your vagina remind you of?
A pretty dark peach or a diamond I found from a treasure, and it's mine.
What's special about your vagina?
Somewhere deep inside, it has a really, really smart brain.
What does it smell like?
Snowflakes.
The women who love to make vaginas happy.
I love vaginas. I love women. I don't see them as separate things. Women pay me to dominate them, to excite them, to make them come. I didn't start out like this. No, to the contrary. I started out as a lawyer. But in my late 30s, I became obsessed with making women happy. It began as a mission of sorts, but then I got involved in it. I got very good at it, kind of brilliant. It was my art. I started getting paid for it. It was as if I found my calling. I wore outrageous outfits when I dominated women, lace and silk and leather, and I used props. Whips and handcuffs and ropes and dildos. There was nothing like this in tax law. There were no props, no excitement, and I hated those blue corporate suits, although I do wear them from time to time in my new line of work. And they served me quite nicely. There were no props in corporate law. No wetness, no dark, mysterious foreplay, no delicious mouths. But mainly, there was no moaning. Not the kind I'm talking about anyway. This was the key, I see now. Moaning was the thing that ultimately seduced me and got me addicted to making women happy. When I was a little girl, I would see women in movies making love, making strange, orgasmic moaning sounds. I used to laugh. I got strangely hysterical. I couldn't believe that big, outrageous, ungoverned sounds like that came out of women. I longed to moan. I practiced in front of a mirror, on a tape recorder, moaning in various keys, various tones, but always, when I played it back, it sounded fake. It was fake. It wasn't rooted in anything sexual, really, only my desire to be sexual. But then, when I was 10, I had to pee really bad once on a car trip. It went on for almost an hour when we finally got to pee in this dirty little gas station. I was so excited. I moaned. I moaned as I peed. I couldn't believe it. Me moaning in a Texaco station in the middle of Louisiana? I realized that the moans are connected with not getting what you want right away, but with putting things off. I realized moans were best when they were caught, when they caught you by surprise. They came out of this hidden, mysterious part of you that was speaking its own language. I realized that moans were, in fact, that language. I became a moaner. It made most men anxious. Frankly, it terrified them. I was loud and they couldn't concentrate on what they were doing. They'd lose focus, then they'd lose everything. We couldn't make love in people's homes. The walls were too thin. I got a reputation in my building and people started staring at me with contempt in the elevator. Men thought I was intense. Some called me insane. I was becoming hopeless when I discovered women. I discovered that most women love my moaning. But most importantly, I discovered how deeply excited I got when I made other women moan. When I was responsible for the other women moaning. I made love to quiet women and found this place inside them, and they shocked themselves in their moaning. I made love to moaners, and they found a deeper, more penetrating moan. It was a kind of surgery, a kind of delicate service, finding the tempo, the exact location or home of the moan. That's what I call it. Sometimes I found it over a woman's jeans. Sometimes I snuck up on it off the record, quietly disarming and surrounding alarms and moving in. Sometimes I use force, but not violence. Oppressing force, more like dominating. I'm going to take you someplace. Don't worry. Lay back. Enjoy the ride. Kind of force. I wasn't fooled by the minor, more obvious moans. Nope, I pushed her further, all the way into her power mode.
There's the clit moan. The vaginal moan. The combo clit vaginal moan. The right on it moan. The elegant moan. The grace slick moan. The wasp moan. The Jewish moan. The African American moan.
Oh, shit!
The Irish Catholic moan.
Forgive me!
The mountaintop moan. The baby moan. The doggy moan. The uninhibited, militant, bisexual moan. The machine gun moan. The tortured Zen moan. The diva moan. The college moan. And finally, the surprise triple orgasm moan.
This piece was performed for some time without any mention of birth. This was a bizarre omission. But then again, a male journalist recently asked, what's the connection? Our author, Eve Ensler, was presented for this birth of her granddaughter. She was in awe of vaginas before that moment. She's in deep worship now.
I was in the room. I was there when her vagina opened. We were all there. Her mother, her husband, and I, and the nurse from the Ukraine, with her whole hand up there in her vagina, feeling and turning with her rubber glove as she talked casually to us, like she was turning on a loaded faucet. I was there in the room when the contractions made her crawl on all fours, made unfamiliar moans leak out of her pores, and still there after hours when she just screamed suddenly while her arms striking the electric air. I was there when her vagina changed from a shy sexual hole to an archaeological tunnel, a sacred vessel, a Venetian canal, a deep well with a tiny stuffed child inside, waiting to be rescued. I saw the colors of her vagina, they changed. Saw the bruised, broken blue, the blistering tomato red, the gray pink, the dark. Saw the blood like perspiration along the edges. Saw the yellow, white liquid, the shit, the clots, pushing out all the holes, pushing harder and harder. Saw through the hole, the baby's head, scratches of black hair. Saw it just there behind the bone, a hard, round memory. As the nurse from the Ukraine kept turning and turning her slippery hand, I was there when each of us, her mother and I, held a leg and spread her wide, pushing with all our strength against her pushing, and her husband sternly counting, 1, 2, 3, telling her to focus harder. We looked into her then. We couldn't get our eyes out of that place. We forget the vagina, all of us. What else could explain our lack of awe, our lack of reverence? I was there when the doctor reached in with Alice in Wonderland spoons, and there, as her vagina became a wide, operatic mouth, singing with all its strength, first the little head, then the gray flopping arm, then the fast swimming body swimming quickly into our weeping arms. I was there later when I just turned and faced her vagina. I stood and let myself see her all spread, completely exposed, mutilated, swollen and torn, bleeding all over the doctor's hands, who was calmly sewing her down, sewing her there. I stood and her vagina suddenly became a wide, red, pulsing heart. The heart is capable of sacrifice. So is the vagina. The heart is able to forgive and repair. It can change its shape to let us in. It can expand to let us out. So can the vagina. It can ache for us and stretch for us and die for us and bleed us into this difficult, wondrous world. I was there in the room. I remember.
That's more than 1 billion women living on the planet today. V-Day Los Angeles refuses to stand by as more than 1 million women experience violence. That's why tonight we are rising with millions of women and men around the world to say enough. The violence ends now. 1 billion rising is an appreciation, an amplification, and an escalation. 1 billion rising is a global call to action. We have gathered throughout the world. 1 billion rising is a communal joining us in solidarity, purpose, and energy, showing the world our collective strength, our numbers, and our unity. 1 billion rising is shaking the world into a new consciousness. And we are dancing across every country, on every continent. Because dancing insists we take up space, and it has no set direction, but we go there together. It's dangerous, joyous, sexual, holy, and disruptive. It breaks the rules. It can happen anywhere, at any time, to anyone, to everyone, and it's free. It requires touching the music, and no corporation can control it. It joins us and pushes us to go further. It's contagious and it spreads quickly. It's of the body and it's transcendent. And we are dancing in defiance of the injustices that we, our mothers, sisters, lovers, and friends have suffered. Because 1 billion rising, it's a celebration. And we are dancing in the streets, and in churches, and in stadiums, and in huts, and in our homes. And we are shaking the planet today in a powerful act of refusal to let the violence continue. Because we are saying no more. Because we are 1 billion rising. And I am rising because.
I am rising because.
I am rising because.
Over it. I am over rape. I am over rape culture, rape mentality, rape pages on Facebook. I am over thousands of people who sign those pages with their real names without shame. I am over people calling it freedom of speech and justifying it as a joke. I am over people not understanding that rape is not a joke, and I'm over being told that I don't have a sense of humor, and women don't have a sense of humor. And most women I know, and I know a few, I know a lot, are really fucking funny. We just don't think that uninvited penises up our anus or our vagina is a laugh riot. I'm over how long it seems to take anyone to ever respond to rape. I'm over the hundreds of thousands of women in Congo still waiting for the rapes to end and the rapists to be held accountable. I'm over the thousands of women in Bosnia, Burma, Syria, Somalia, Pakistan, South Africa, Guatemala, Sierra Leone, Haiti, Afghanistan, Libya, you name a place, still waiting for justice. I am over rape happening in broad daylight. I am over women being gang raped and murdered on a bus in Delhi, or gang raped and videoed in Steubenville, Ohio. I am over 1 in 3 women in the U.S. military getting raped by their so-called comrades. I'm over the forces that deny women who have been raped and the right to have an abortion. I'm over rape victims being re-raped when they try to prosecute their cases.
I am over women still being silent about rape because they are made to believe it's their fault or they did something to make it happen. I am over violence against women not being a #1 international priority when 1 out of 3 women will be raped or beaten in her lifetime. The destruction and muting and undermining of women is the destruction of life itself. No women, no future. Duh. I am over this rape culture where the privileged with political they want, anytime they want. I am over the endless resurrection of the careers of rapists and sexual exploiters, film directors, world leaders, corporate executives, movie stars, athletes, while the lives of the women they violated are permanently destroyed, often forcing them to live in social and emotional exile.
I am over the passivity of good men. Where the hell are you? You live with us, you make love with us, you father us, you befriend us, you brother us, you get nurtured and mothered and eternally supported by us. So why aren't you standing with us? Why aren't you driven to the point of madness and action by rape and the humiliation that it causes us? I'm over years and years of being raped. I'm over thinking about rape every day since I was 5 years old. And reading my insanely crowded inbox of rape horrors every hour, every single day. I'm over being polite about rape. It's been too long now. We have been too understanding. We need to end rape. In every school, park, radio, bus, TV station, household, factory, refugee camp, military base, back room, nightclub, alleyway. We need people to truly try and imagine once and for all what it feels like to have your body invaded, your mind splintered, your soul shattered. We need you to let our rage and our compassion connect us together so we can change the paradigm of global rape. There are approximately 1 billion women on the planet that have been violated. 1 billion women. The time is now. 1 billion women are rising today to end rape because we are over it!
Tonight's cast introductions are Cheryl Castillo in the introduction and Vagina Monologue, the Wear and Say It list and Over It, the Vagina Happy Fact, Janine Betts, the Wear and Say It list, the Women Who Love to Make Vagina Happy and Over It, Carmen Vega and Bud, Tony McNair, Not So Happy Fact, Sylvia Hernandez, My Vagina Muslim Village, Marquisha Phillips, The Little Coochie Snowtrooper and Over It, Deborah Burton, The Cleaning Room, Dolores the Guzman, The 6-year-old girl with ass, Sony Adele, I Was in the Room. Our narrator this evening has been Sandra Hales, and our director was Janine Beck. And we'd like to thank you all for coming again. I'd like to remind you that this is a grassroots fundraiser. Oh, I'm sorry. Carla Guerrero, I'm sorry. So.